in the years ahead for the European cooperation.
Can you explain why is your honor?
It's an honor because, this is a real politician, huh? No, it's an honor because we have been sometimes in Zoom meetings and actually discussing on the Western Balkans. I always find you an extremely interesting speaker, and this is not just to say it on the stage. Because you can be very provocative, which I like, as a Dutch person who tends to be very direct. So it's an honor to finally meet you in person.
Okay, let's say I am convinced now. No, I was thinking what would be valuable contribution to this Congress coming from a country that is not in the EU, but is still in the Europe, and being part of this area in the middle of Europe, in the middle of the European Union, but out of the European Union, the Western Balkans. And I thought that maybe it can be not a bad idea to try and convey here the message that what started some days ago or a few weeks ago in Prague with this attempt to unite Europe beyond the borders of the European Union and to include countries that in one way or the other are connected to not simply the fate of Europe but also to how the European Union moves forward. It's still a big question. Yes, this community is needed. We have seen it, especially in times that are becoming more and more common times and bringing more and more common challenges. But how this community will be functioning in a way that at the end everyone can see results. How this community can be functioning in a way that when it comes to the huge common challenges, no one is left behind and no one's contribution to the European common position is not taken for granted. We have had a horrible experience with the European Union when the pandemic started and when the European Union gathered in rush and pressure under big anxiety to start vaccination. And in the first row of vaccination, we were completely forgotten. So we had to watch how others around us could start vaccinate their elderly, their nurses, their doctors, while we, the Western Balkan people, although being so faithful and so loyal to Europe, were like fishes out of water. And what we could do? We had to run to find vaccines exactly where the narrative of the European Union says comes the danger. China, Russia, and Turkey. And if, for example, in the case of Albania, was not for Turkey and for President Erdogan, we would not have been able to vaccinate anyone for quite a long time. Same goes for Serbia and China, and somehow also Russia. So this was a big, frightening moment because we could see in a very hard situation that the European Union was not there for us, was not there for our people, was not there in a matter of life and death. Now, here we are. the energy crisis is not the pandemic, but is similar when it comes to the power to hit and to disrupt the whole community of Europeans, let's say. And I hope that will not be the case again, that whatever solutions might be found within the European Union and however the European Union might decide to support member states to somehow stand the big punch, we will not be again left out of it. You know, we Albanians are very loyal people. You know, we were the last to betray the Ottoman Empire, even when the Ottomans themselves decided to do something else. We were the last to betray the Soviet Empire, even when the whole Soviets decided that was not a good idea. We'll be the last to betray the European Empire, even if European Union will dissolve. But we don't like to be taken for granted anyway. So I think that it's time to see deeper in how this family, the Socialist and Democrat family, where, by the way, there is less solidarity in deeds compared to the EPP family, let's say it, because the EPP guys support each other blindly. We in this family need to first scrutinize each other to the point that we make the solidarity even senseless. So I hope this will be somehow adjusted. But at the end, I would say that there are things that are really horrible. You know, we are not rich countries, and on one hand, we are seeing our youngsters and the best youngsters leaving because we don't have the same access to the European high education system. So our universities cannot create the synergies and cannot create the common path with universities in the European Union. On the other hand, we see that even them who we pay from our taxpayers' money to become doctors and nurses are swallowed by Germany like this in a second. So it doesn't seem really right, and it doesn't seem really European solidarity to see on one hand your universities and your youth left out of the system, and so leaving the country because they want to be part of that system, and rightly so. And on the other hand, to see our qualified workforce being swallowed by the richest countries. So, okay, it's the market, I understand it, but somehow this should be balanced, and this should be somehow, you know, in a kind of solidarity in the sense that our countries should get something in return. So if there are no more young Germans that want to become nurses, we are happy to help, but we should be helped too. It can't work. It can't work in one way, and there are several themes like that need to be addressed. And I hope this new European political community is not the ultimate French delicious cheese just to avoid the big meal, but it's a real meal, and it's a meal for everyone, not just for them with the EU, but also for them with just E.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And for those who are more interested in your specific ideas on that, I can recommend your opinion piece last week in Politico with also the Dutch.
No, this was not all about what I want to say, because it was a compromise between me and Mark Rutte. So it was was a Dutch-Albanian cooperation,
yes,
which was very fascinating, frankly, for me and for us, because until a few years ago, Netherlands was the most tough and the most unpenetrable force preventing us to open the negotiations. But then they won elections and they were fine, so they can see us with another eye.
Well, I'm happy for that. Then Annelies Dodds, now also my former colleague from the European Parliament, but now also the chair of the UK Labour Party. And Annelies, we, of course, also in Britain, you see the cost, the social costs that are coming from, as a result of the war. And according to you, what are then the policies and how to communicate those policies to citizens that need to be done by Social Democrats, also by your party, by UK Labour?
Well, thanks so much, Katy. It's such an important question, and can I just say I'm so delighted we're having this discussion together with so many old friends of mine and new friends too. Obviously, the UK has left the European Union, but we also have not left Europe, and it really is important to us to be here with all of you. I mean, on this question, Katy, of course the national response will depend on national circumstances. It will depend on the energy mix, the fiscal room, the balance in every country between speed and targeting.